WTHC. Good. You want to say it? Say it, Dr. High.
What's that?
You say it. You do the opening.
Oh, I don't remember it. I'll learn it for next time. Go ahead.
WTHC, you fucker. WTHC. Good morning, everybody. You're hanging with the hippie and Dr. High. Some of us might be higher than others.
Yes.
Somebody might be up since 3 o'clock in the morning, working all morning. How are you, my friend?
Good.
It was. Oh, it was good. Good. I'm struggling. I'm struggling because I need to, I want to talk to you. I want to be able to set this show up and make this show the best part of the day. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm trying to figure out how to do my new schedule. So I think I've been contemplating it. I don't know yet. It's not official. Nobody have no freaking, don't get your panties in a bunch. What I'm thinking is that I'm going to go back to the way I used to do it, where I'm going to do the 4 hours and end with you in the morning.
Okay.
Then I'm going to take like a 4-hour hiatus, but not really a hiatus, because then I'll be doing all the other stuff that I need to do that I can be able to do during daytime hours.
Yeah.
Then come back on again in the evening from 4 o'clock in the afternoon and do all the 420s across the country, party with my friends.
Morning.
have some interviews. If I got my rock and roll friends for interviews at that time of night, if I have to run a little late, I run a little late. Yeah. But if I, because I got a lot of music people been hitting me up, want to come on, do interviews, hang out, talk. So I can do that as well, And if you're not available for those, that's okay. But we'll do our medicine ones all in the morning. I'll be able to do phone calls, set up appointments, get people scheduled for this one, get people scheduled for that one. Yeah, it just makes sense. But
because I can guarantee my 10 till noon for sure. But the other one we'll deal with on a case by case basis. Just depends,
Yeah, right. I mean, if it's your let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I couldn't hear what you said. Go
ahead.
I
was just saying I enjoy this. So
I absolutely love it.
I'll work it out,
Yeah, I absolutely love it, and I don't want you to ever leave. So, I want to make this the best possible thing we can make it. So every day I'm constantly thinking, good morning, Jerry. How are you? Good morning, Kelly. How are you? Please share it out, guys. Did I do something wrong? No, you look wonderful, Jerry. Why would you have ever done anything wrong? We love you.
That's it.
Like I want to be able to set it up so that I have time to be able to get in touch with, say, Ganji lovers or whoever, and have them be set up for the next day for the show or in weeks in advance, so I can have it set up so that they can shout themselves out and have time to say, hey, we're going to be on WTHC with Dr. High and the Hippie. And then we have time to post it out and tell people, hey, we're going to be having, Seedsman on or whoever, whatever.
That's it. Well, there's somebody I've been watching on Facebook for the last couple of months, what they do.
Good morning, Tina.
Probably be good for you. But I just messaged with them this morning and I said, let's talk about you coming on. We'll talk about what you're doing and how you can help out people across the U.S. Is that interesting? And they were like, okay, it's interesting. I said, well, check it out this morning, and I will talk to you after the show, and we'll try and get you in for Monday if that's what you want to do. So we'll see.
Was it Cheech and Chong?
No. It's just somebody who does.
Oh, it doesn't matter. If you say they are worthy, then they're worthy. You're the doctor. Yeah. Good morning, Fable.
Morning, Fable. Massive echo.
Hello.
Morning, Andrew.
Andrew, welcome in. Let me try turning the volume up a little. Maybe that'll help with the echo. Hello.
Mr. Slow. Good morning.
Welcome in. Shaking my head. Is it in Discord? Is it here? Is it good morning, Facebook user? I don't like that. I don't know. Should we just get rid of that? I don't like to get rid of it because we have a lot of Facebook users.
Well, you can't get rid of it. Just this thing is that they're coming in through the group, right? That's why you can't see.
They're watching it
through a private group. Like it could be somebody else who's with us that shared it into a group that they're involved with, right? And these people could be coming in from any group, really.
That's what I
You
hope.
know, that's a private group.
I
So
hope yeah, like Curly Cal and Lori are out there
it's
sharing it
awful.
about it amongst all their weed groups, and everybody should be sharing it out amongst all their weed groups, their friends, their family. Don't overshare though. Like if you see somebody already shared it there, please
No, we
don't
don't
blow 'em up.
want to be thought of as spam. That's for sure. I mean,
No.
we're here to help, and if people block us out because they think we're spammy, then we can't help.
Yeah, I've
anyone
gone
who
and
knows.
I appreciate everybody sharing, but if you can, just try to see. If you don't see, it's okay. Shit happens. But I go around and I kind of delete the ones if I see there's 2 or 3 in a room. I'll go in and delete it and get rid of one of them so that's down to 1. We in no way will ever spam somebody's group. We're not trying to spam groups, but like even groups that ask me the questions and then they're like, you know, no spam, you know, and I'm like, I won't even join. I'll just back out. And,
you know, there's a ton more mileage. There's a lot more mileage in taking the time to send a message.
Morning, Gandhi lovers. How are you?
Morning, Gandhi lovers, to send a message to administrators of groups and giving them the opportunity to weigh in on how they feel about it. Right? I think it's the best way to go.
I can see your comments, Facebook user, but I don't know who you are because it doesn't say who you are. But yes. Yeah. Good morning, Christopher. How are you? Gandhi lovers. I saw you had some trauma last night. Are you able to come up? You were not happy, or you didn't sound happy with I guess the repotting, or maybe your
Who's that? Christopher or Gandhi lovers?
Gandhi lovers. I was in his room hanging out.
Talk about both. Chris, you know, this is probably the best way. When you have plant questions, message me a picture of your plant. Because I mean, I can read in the text what you're saying, but it doesn't allow me to see it, right? In a plant, you kind of need to see it. It's hard to talk about. If your leaves are starting to turn yellow, absolutely remove them. Remove those lower leaves. They have served their purpose. Once they start to die off, the plant puts more energy into trying to save that than into what you want it to do, which is continue at this point of the season, grow. You want, in the vegetative phase, you want it to maximize, to grow to a good size without stretching. You know, you want to try and keep that internodal length down, but and internodal length is just basically the distance between branching sites. That's really all that word means, right? Every place you get a set of 2 branches, that's a node. So, but yeah, once a leaf is damaged or starts to turn yellow, you can remove it. And as the season gets later and later, the idea is to remove more and more leaves that have that take the plant energy, especially once you get into flower. You want to leave enough leaf there to perform photosynthesis at its maximum, which is convert the sun's energy into energy for the plant. But you don't need to have a big bushy plant. And you definitely want to clean off anything on the inside that grows right along the main stem, especially when it's small and the plant gets bushy, because you want airflow. One of the quickest ways to end up with powdery mildew on your plants is to not allow that airflow and to allow pockets where moisture can get trapped, especially as the evenings get cooler. That will promote powdery mildew. So if you clean up the center of the plant, you can avoid that.
Yeah. I just remembered something.
What's that?
Remembered something. We got bad news. It's very sad news, everybody. Please relax, take it easy, take a deep breath. So Lori and her beautiful plant that she was growing.
Yep.
I don't know the full story, but somehow the dog jumped onto the plant and the plant is no longer.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yes, you're right about that. I do need a new battery for my smoke detector. I was actually up this morning and I completely forgot.
I have one out in the other room that goes off constantly. It's been going off for like 3 years. I've changed the battery 7 times.
Who keeps those 9 volts laying around, right? Like I give you AA, AAA. I always keep those in the cupboard, but 9 volts is not something you think about very often, right? You don't just leave them laying around. So yeah, I was up this morning. I forgot.
Until the day that you remember when your alarm goes off and you're like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, that's what my wife said the other day.
I don't have a 9-volt laying around.
That's what I always say. It drives me crazy. Just take the battery out. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'd rather listen to the chirp, but then know if there's a fire, it's still going to go off. You know what I mean? Until I can replace it. At least if it's chirping, there's enough energy for it to chirp to wake me up if there's a fucking fire.
Right. I guess I didn't even. Well, mine is like wired in, but then it also takes a battery, and I'm like changing the battery, and nothing. It's still beeping, and this is one that's at the top of the stairs, at the top of the cathedral ceiling. So I need like a goddamn ladder, and I need my fat ass to be half the size to get all the way up there to do it.
Pain. That's why you got adult children, hippie.
Well, yeah, I've done it twice. Well, yeah. That was cute. Children. Yeah, they don't.
Your adult children. They're not children anymore. They're adults. So they can perform the task.
Oh, you got me. That was a good one.
Get your ass up that ladder, sonny boy. This is what you need to do.
He's tried. He says, I've tried that. I don't know. It doesn't work. I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. I don't care. I don't even hear it anymore. It's just a part of life.
Yeah.
Go beep. And I'm like, and people, I'll be on TikTok or something sitting in my living room, and people will be like writing like Brandy. Brandy probably done it to me. Brandy!
Yeah.
Start trouble over there. Anyway.
All right. So Dodgy Letter said, no, he had some lazy fan leaves. Gave him a haircut. The perked right up. All good this morning. Looks happy and healthy. Yeah, this is what you want to see, right? When you're looking at your plant, I can't get my hands to the right thing, but you want your leaves to be up. You know, when the plant's in full sunshine, it should look like it has an erection.
Oh! Did you just say that on the air?
Yeah, like the same idea, right? The leaves should be up. Where you look at a plant and the leaf and the leaf stem comes out and they droop. If you're in full sunlight and you're seeing your plant like that, that means you have something wrong. Like maybe you don't have enough water. They don't have enough water because they use that water, right? It's the moisture in the plant that allows it to pop like that. If it's got the right amount of water in it, then it has the strength to pop the leaves up. But if it's dehydrated, you'll see the leaves come down, right? And that would be in full sunshine. But when, like if you're in a spot in your yard where you get full sunshine for part of the day, but then you have periods of shade, your leaves generally won't be in that up position for long. Once you go into the shade, they'll slowly start to come back down to level. But that's how you can see a healthy, hairy plant, a healthy, happy plant.
Hairy too.
Yeah, well, we want it hairy at one point, but
healthy, hairy, happy plant.
Yeah, I was actually looking at some pictures on LinkedIn this morning from the licensed producer I used to work at.
There's so many pictures. Oh my God. When they get so close and they get oh my God. It's just,
it brought back some cool memories because
art.
I was seeing the inside of the room. They're ready to harvest today. And I'll tell you, the room looks so good. I mean, wow. It just reminds, I loved being in that environment, right? It was a lot of work, a lot of work, but
I think that's Mrs. Hippie over there. So remind me to behave myself. I see an inkling over there. It says I'm sharing out and downloading shows to Spotify, Facebook.
It's scary when the wife goes incognito and becomes Facebook user.
Yeah, now I think I'm on to her though.
You got to be on your best behavior now.
To behave myself. No bad Mrs. Hippie stories today, guys. Sorry if you were here for that. You're gonna have to wait till tomorrow.
That's it.
All right.
Man,
so
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I started my day off with a little bit of hate today. Not my hate, somebody else's hate. People were angry. You? I was so surprised. Yeah, I took one of my images. And I used software to turn it into a little video, right? It can make images talk. So this AI technology can animate the image and you can use it to create a short video.
Okay.
So I created a video yesterday for Etsy for my Dr. High art. And I put it on TikTok. And this morning I'm looking, man, it's nothing but hate. AI is not art. That steals from everybody else. Fuck off, somebody says. I'm like, holy fuck, haters. Haters. So you know what I did? I posted it right on Facebook and said, let's see. I said, I got a lot of hate for this morning. Let's see what happens here.
We'll see, I guess.
People were.
Oh, they're all coming in over there in the chat. Look at them. They're all yelling at you. They can't come here and talk to you man to man.
I got thick skin.
Yes.
Hey, yesterday was crazy. Did you pay attention to what was going on in the news yesterday?
Absolutely not, sir.
So you didn't hear anything about the congressional hearing that's going on right now?
Maybe. About who, what, where, and when?
About non-human entities and UFOs?
No.
Really?
I don't pay attention to that.
It's everywhere. It's all over the news. I stayed up really late last night because I found the session, the congressional hearing on YouTube, and I watched it. And holy shit. I mean, it's not that I didn't, about aliens, exactly, Kelly. It's not that that's not my personal belief anyway. I'm a wholehearted believer that's how we
aliens?
Yeah, that's how I think that we came on this planet. I don't.
Wait a second. There was a boat with animals, 2x2.
Yeah.
Come on. It's written in this big book.
There's a possibility that there was a great flood at one point because many different cultures have that story.
Where is said boat?
Well, they haven't found it. So, they have.
They're worried about finding the Titanic. They're worried about finding the Titanic, but they ain't worried about that damn wood boat that held 7 million animals.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can go down that road because I got a real belief in it, but it just, when you think about the world, right? I'm a very common sense kind of guy. And some theories don't.
Glitch, I'm gonna need you today, girl. Guidelines, this is hippie guidelines.
It's a sweet tale, yes, exactly. But you know what I mean? When you think logically about how we got here, a lot of the stories aren't very logical, right? Like if you look at Darwin says that we've evolved from single cell animals all the way through the chain of evolution, right? Like we share a lot of DNA with fish, and then we have primates and we have things like that. So, so the theory of evolution, it's interesting, but it just doesn't make any sense, right? Because how can one cell evolve into a frog, a pig, and a human, and an elephant, and a giraffe? And so the logic goes out the window there.
Hold on a second. I hate to cut you off, but you know what time it is.
What time is it? Commercial time?
Yeah, these damn commercials. Gotta love them.
We'll get into God. We'll get into the talk of God after the commercial.
I got so many weed topics I found today. All right.
We'll talk about those too, but this just has me totally looped today.
We'll be back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver.
Next.
It's up to you. So what are you going to do? You're going to go grocery shopping. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Oh, no.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find
Chris,
the care guides
/caregiving.
Public service announcement brought to you
can't
by
hear you.
Ad Council.
Well, I was talking to Chris anyway. He sent me a picture of this plant. We'll talk about it after the commercial.
And learn is amazing.
Right, we'll talk after the
but not
commercial.
every
I
child
can't hear.
gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S.
Esther
are hungry.
Roche!
1 in 6. That little girl
Morning,
sitting on
Crystal.
the playground
Crystal, how are
doesn't
you?
play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the
Hello,
reality in our
Facebook
country.
user. I
but
don't
it's
know who
something
you
that
are,
Feeding
but hello,
America
how
is
are you? We
working
love
to
you.
change.
Mwah.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on
Great, thanks. How about you?
because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Florida.
Brought to
Veronica,
you by Feeding
maybe?
America and the Ad Council.
What? Well, you know when it's hot, just means less clothes, more water.
Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. If you need some kick-ass puppets, contact Thorge at 1-636-234-1535. He has all your puppet needs. He can fix puppets, build puppets, custom-made puppets. He has puppets off the rack for cheap prices. Contact Thorge today at 1-636-234-1535 or on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes LARPing items too.
Hey, it's Bill Schmidt Jr., a.k.a. Billy Blaze, a.k.a. 420 Kid of the Holistic Cloud. R.I.P. to my man Derek Crump. I want to give a shout out.
I own the rights. I got a little paper over here that says I can do this.
Noriega, Big Just, Rossi, Jack the Apostle, the lead.
Badger Heart
Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Big buzz to little crumbs broke up.
Is that you, Badger Heart? Hi.
Only problem needs solving. See who I'm calling for some trees to indulge in. Need to holler at Billy. He keep his head in the cloud. Bel Air Kush by the bush. Wow. Screaming loud. Still smoking. Having nice dreams floating through space. So when they ask me how high, my reply, I'm half baked.
There are the LARPing items. You might want to know.
Got me huckleberry and lemon cherry.
Oh, LARPing. Live action role play.
LARPing. L-A-R-P. LARPing.
Live action role play.
Role play.
Afraid I ain't scared to look down, you so high. Cause when I split that shit, it's like I lit that shit.
So like swords and shields and stuff that you can go out and pretend to be a knight in shining armor and beat the hell out of each other with.
The people are way into that.
Oh, he's very into it. He's like a king over there. King Badger Heart.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Oh, no, I think that in their group, you have to earn your way up. Like, it's a big group.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to speak on his group or anything, especially if he's over there.
You develop a character, and it's like a real world, just a fantasy.
Yeah, it's
one
like
for-
that show. Remember that movie with what's his face, and they had to be like they were in trouble, and they had and the one kid was a LARPer, and the other kid was a little black kid, and then he was a little tough guy. It was a movie, and one kid was a LARPer, and the other guy had to go with, I don't know the stars' names. I'm not good with movies.
I'll find it later.
Big Brothers, but not Big Brother. It's like Guardian. They get in trouble and they have to do community service, so they both have to take care of these two little kids, like Big Brothers.
Oh,
Role models. Thank you, Lori. Role models.
yes.
And the one dude
Lori
gets
might
the
be
little
old.
black kid,
That's your little green
and the other
friend.
dude gets the LARPing kid.
Right.
And he has to go and watch this kid LARP, and then he becomes a LARPer himself.
Yeah.
It almost convinced me that I wanted to be a LARPer. And then I realized how foolish they look. Running around in their panties, stabbing
Like
people
you
with
say.
fake swords.
Whatever floats your boat.
And I'm just busting Badger Heart's balls over there if he's over there. Oh, it's actually it's a cute movie.
Yeah,
It's old.
it's got the guy from American Pie, I think.
Yeah. Stifler's mom or something like that.
Yeah, Stifler himself.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going live. W. See, it's a word. You spell it. WTHC. Good morning, everybody. I am high. Happy 420 to everybody over there in the Netherlands. Welcome in if you're out there on Live 365 and tune in. And, of course, everybody chilling and hanging out with us over here on Facebook and YouTube. I am the hippie. That is the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. High. hanging over there with us, talking weed, and I guess God is what we were talking about last.
Well, I just want to go through this a little bit today because I've been so involved with it, and I think it's fascinating because people always wonder, right? You know, a lot of people who come forward and talk about UFOs and things like that, they're stigmatized, just like with cannabis. There's a stigma to it, and it's, you know, it's kind of foolish because if we think that we're the only intelligent life in the galaxy or in the universe, it's kind of small-minded, right, to believe that. So first we went through Darwin and talked about why that wasn't common sense, you know what I mean, or realistic. Now, God is kind of different, right? Because at some point there was a creation, no matter what, no matter how you look at it, whether it was the creation of Earth in 7 days and according to the Old Testament, whether it happened like that, or if you discount that being the way humans came to inhabit Earth, at some point in time, there was a moment of creation that created even the first alien being or the first non-human being or the first intelligent life, right? So there is the potential for there to be this omnipotent power that we think of as God. So it doesn't discount the fact that there could be a God, but the logical progression for us being on Earth is that aliens who are, or non-humans, whatever you want to call them, who traveled the galaxy found that there are resources on this planet that were useful to them, and they needed a workforce to extract that. So there was genetic manipulation of some sort of creature that they found. They had the technology to genetically manipulate it and create this workforce. And that would explain things about why has gold always been so valuable? What made gold valuable in the first place? Right? Why are these ancient cultures that display things that appear so alien? And why was gold always so important? And we know that gold is used in space travel, right? Gold is one of the things they use a lot in the space program to create things like the James Webb Telescope. The actual reflecting mirrors that are used in there are coated in gold. So gold is important in space travel. So, you know, it kind of makes sense when you look at it logically that perhaps our presence here on Earth wasn't because of what it says in the Bible, but because of these aliens. So right now, the U.S. Congress is doing a hearing about UAPs on unidentified aerial phenomena and non-human entities. And they have a panel there. So a lot of people have seen the TikTok video that they've showed on the news, right? Where the Air Force pilots saw this thing and they have a little bit of it on the news. So the pilot who actually was on that mission is one of the people they're talking to. But the most interesting one is a guy by the name of David Grush. And he is in intelligence with the Department of Defense, very high level, the highest security clearance you can get, all these sort of things. And he was tasked with trying to assemble information concerning UFOs and aliens. This was the job he was given. So he's gone about it and gone about it and gone about it. And then at one point, it came to his attention that the U.S. government was in possession of non-terrestrial craft, vehicles that had been made by somebody who wasn't human and didn't come from Earth, and that they were also in the possession of alien non-human bodies. So he attempted to access this firsthand, to go and see it, to go and see what they had, but he was denied the access. They wouldn't allow him to see what was going on. Although he had a lot of information from people he had interviewed, he was not allowed to pass that threshold. So he went to the Inspector General and said, listen, you know, I'm fully cleared for this information. It's part of my duty. I need access to this. And he was blocked. And because of that, he decided to start to talk out about it. So everything he's disclosing at this congressional hearing, he's been authorized to disclose by the Department of Defense, but he states unequivocally that there are spacecraft on Earth in the possession of the U.S. government. and that they have recovered the biological remains of non-human pilots of these craft. And this is like huge because it's happening now. This hearing was just yesterday, and it's ongoing today. And wow, I mean, for sure, here it comes back, right? Oh, that's very interesting.
I'm stoned.
Are you?
Yeah,
Hey, Lori.
That was a rough one. I was like, I don't like to learn. Learning sucks.
It's not learning, but it's really
interesting. It is. When you're telling me stuff that I have to try to retain, that's learning.
Well, you don't have to retain it. You can just let it flow right through and take it in at the moment. But yeah,
out the other side.
You know, the thing that concerns me the most, though, is the whole topic of conversation surrounding this disclosure of information is about national security and the threat to airspace that's presented by these phenomena. And they're not approaching. I mean, how come they're not approaching it from the point of view where let's open a channel of communication with these people? Let's try to interact with them to see how we can better our planet. If they're able to get here, then their technology far surpasses ours. You know what I mean? And that's what one of these Navy pilots was saying, was that we have nothing on this planet that could compete with these craft. I mean, we couldn't shoot them down. We can't fight them. We can't do anything. We are at the mercy of these people because their technology is so great. So if that's the case, why haven't we been subjected to their wrath prior to now? You know what I mean? They're not trying to hurt humanity. They're not, you know what I mean? So why wouldn't we try to interact as opposed to, because if they wanted to do us harm, they could have done it already, but they haven't. So, you know, I don't understand the approach, but I think it's got to change. I'm sorry, but the government is hiding everything because, do you know electric cars being made in 1950? Yeah. There are hydrogen engines out there that run on water. You could run your car on water. The engines have been made. The patents have been made. But you know where those are, right? Those patents are in a safe someplace, and the original model has been disappeared because a big oil company bought it up immediately. They offer the guy more money than he could refuse for that patent, and they bury the technology because it interferes with their goals. There are a lot of beneficial technologies out there for humanity that could change so many things, but we don't have access to them because the main players that stand to lose the most make sure that they cut off access. You know, it's a shame, but it's what it is. All right, that's enough of these conspiracy talks and all this kind of shit. Let's talk weed. What did you want to talk about? You said a lot of weed questions this morning, a lot of things you wanted to discuss. Oh, Christopher.
Me? No, I have a lot of things that I found across the top up here.
Oh, okay. Christopher,
if people have questions, absolutely. You know what I want to say? I don't know where he is. He might be too fucking high to be here, but Tree Hugs wrote a message in our Discord bright and early this morning. He said something to the effect of, "Oh my God, it feels so great to be high."
Yeah.
That's our friend from Australia.
Oh, okay, Steve.
With all the pain. Oh yeah, Steve over here.
Oh,
Steve.
good.
Yes. Steve,
Good. So you found some relief. I'd like to know how he went about it.
Yeah, I don't think he's here because I haven't seen him yet, but he was complaining of being very stoned.
Having a good night's sleep.
Hopefully he's getting a good night's rest. Yes, that was great news when I saw that this morning. Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
So we found some relief.
Chris sent me a picture of his plant, and his question was about the yellow leaves at the bottom and whether he should remove them. My advice to you prior was wrong, because I was under the assumption that it was going to be a plant more along the lines of what Lori had going on. I didn't realize that your plant was only on its second set of leaves. Those little yellow leaves at the bottom will drop off on their own. They're the initial ones that come out. So don't touch them. Don't remove them. That plant's too small to deal with any kind of trauma at the moment. So just leave it alone. They'll fall off on their own. When the plant is bigger, like let's say the plant is now 12 inches tall, you have yellow leaves at the bottom, by all means remove them. But at that size and at this stage of its growth, just leave it be.
I haven't
It's
looked
fine.
at my plant in a couple days now. Mississippi took over. I'm a little nervous.
Nah, she loves gardening. She'll do a good
I
job.
know she's got a green thumb, but
She'll do a
it's
good
not
job.
her. Usually it's them damn cats. They run around and they knock shit flying around the house. I'm like, you son of a bitch. And she's always yelling, there goes another whole tray of plants, you motherfucker. So,
Oh, plants are nice. There's a tree rodent on my deck. What's that? Must be a squirrel. You know, Alberta, in Alberta, the squirrels are like this big. They're tiny. I've never seen such little squirrels. They're small like chipmunks. And I come back to Ontario and they're like this. Big suckers.
we got black ones over here in my area.
Oh, we got black, gray, red, all different colors.
Oh, I had never really seen a black one growing up on Long Island. I never really
No,
saw a black one. We had
We got-
chipmunks and we had regular gray squirrels. Now up here in Pennsylvania, all of a sudden we got black squirrels, red squirrels, flying squirrels.
Yeah, it's good entertainment for my dog, right? Because we have two really big trees in the back, and he can just lay outside, and the squirrels are running over his head the whole time and everything, and he just sits there and watches them. My daughter's dog would be after them, probably be climbing the tree to get them. But low-key, he's really chill. He just likes to watch, and I don't think he wants to hurt anything, so it's a good boy like that. So, okay, so what are the weed topics we got today? What did you want to talk about weed?
I'm gonna try something for the very first time. Well, first off, what? Suppositories.
Suppositories?
Yep. I'm
Nice.
gonna try this today for the first
Oh,
time.
nice.
Mrs. Hippie's just gonna squirt some right up into
This
there.
one, right? All right.
Distillant
Well,
syringe
just
right
make sure you put the syringe in a couple of seconds ahead of time so it warms up enough that it comes out easily.
Oh, so leave it in there for a little while.
For a
Keister it.
little- Just for a little while.
All right. I
You know what?
understand.
It comes out.
No,
Kelly, for real.
I want to know.
This weekend, Kelly, you might give me the opportunity to give him a hand too.
Yes, Kelly. Maybe I'll save it for the weekend, and you and Mrs. Hippie can in my ass. Take turns, a half a gram each.
Oh, you
Anyway.
probably feel
No, let's get to the topic I want to talk about. So she says, "Hell no."
hell no.
Anyway, so I was reading a topic and it just came up on my thing, and I was like, are there animals that will eat your marijuana plants when you have them growing out of the ground in the yard? Are there like we have deer here and they eat just about fucking everything, these fuckers.
Yeah, they
So
will.
I came across the story and it says how to keep deer away from your plants. I don't know. I didn't know if you had anything
With
is there
citrus?
a way- Well, I didn't really read it. Like I told you, I just grabbed stuff that I find that and this is something we could talk about
Might
because
be able to use some kind of animal urine too that is a predator.
coyote piss or something.
Coyote urine or something like that. You can buy these things in hunting shops and stuff like that. So yeah, that's
First
really
it says-
simply,
all right. So the first one it says definitely you want to try to install a fence if you can. Put a fence.
yeah,
around.
absolutely. Yeah, people that I know that do like kind of real outdoor grows like that will put barriers around the garden that'll keep out deer. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, for sure.
There's something here. Hold on.
And I got to tell you, I can understand it because what I would have told Lori had the plant not died, when she was ready to top that plant, when you take that little tiny shoot off the top, eat it because it's great. You know what I mean? It has the flavor of watermelon. Oh, sorry, my dog just got out of bed, so I got to open the door for him.
That's okay because I don't know what I'm doing here, and now it's not working. It's not working the way I wanted it to anyway. And now I don't know where Dr. High went. Oh, there we are. But I thought I would be able to scroll on this screen, but I guess I can't scroll on this screen.
Oh, what kind of dog gets up at 10:30 in the morning, eh?
A lazy one.
Yeah, he's got a good life. Yeah, what is this, Sharon?
Well, it was the story about the deer and what to do, but it's not it's not scrolling the way I thought it would.
Right.
So I'll go back to it to the way I was, where you can't see it. Install
I
the
think animals because I smell like pot.
use
You
a
know what?
deterrent. Use a deterrent spray. Go ahead. What?
You know what it comes down to? It's about energy, right? Like we all have our own energies, right? Our own kind of auras. And if you like dogs, chances are most dogs will like you. If you're comfortable around dogs, even meeting a strange dog, you can make that dog fairly comfortable. But if you're afraid or you're scared, they can feel that energy too, right? And it turns on their prey mode instead. It puts them not at ease. So I think all animals are probably like that, you know. And I think sometimes animals even know if you're trying to help them. Like I was looking at some footage this morning of wildfires in, I believe, an island in Greece, Rhodes, and there are two firefighters there with a small deer, like a Bambi deer, a baby, and they're giving it water from a water bottle, and it's drinking from the bottle, and they're holding that deer, and you can see that deer is very comfortable with them. You know what I mean? It's almost appreciates it and realizes that the human's trying to help it. So I think that animals, and if you're good with animals, I think it's because you have a good energy. You know,
Ori,
energy.
you told me your plant got crushed.
Oh, good.
Oh, I thought she said it got crushed and it was dead.
Yeah, that's good. It's not dead.
It's
Like
just not
a
happy.
plant can repair itself. There's some techniques of what they call super cropping or plant manipulation, where you're actually damaging the plant in the process.
Yeah,
So
I
it
was
was
taught at
like-
one point to put little cracks in the stem or something. At one point, somebody was telling me that you're supposed to put like a little crack in it, and then another branch will grow out of there, and then you put another crack here, and another branch will grow out of there.
There's a lot of techniques. I learned a couple during my time, but for the most part, like in the commercial grow, we don't do any super cropping or anything like that. We don't do. It's just far too many plants to put the time and energy into. But if you're growing, like if you're restricted to 2 plants, let's say, depending where you live or whatever the case may be, this is when those techniques become much more beneficial because you can maximize each individual plant. And that's what you have to do. When you have a restriction on plant count, you need bigger plants or more yield per harvest. But when you're unrestricted on plant count,
Right.
then you
So,
just
like, if you're growing 7,000 plants in a big factory, you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about it. But if I'm growing 2 because that's all I can grow in my state, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna make them as big and as beautiful as possible. And
that's when you want to manipulate the plant itself, right? Unless you have the ability to go straight outdoors and you have that good season, right? Like if you can be in the ground in May and out at the end of October, you can get a massive harvest, right? Really like incredible. But in some places, and I imagine you're probably much like we are, it's not really safe to put a plant in until the end of May. So let's say for June 1st, and then
get it out before October.
Yeah, like October gets a little bit dicey. I think last year I cut mine down maybe a week or 2 into October. I think the plant still had a couple of weeks to finish off, like to really complete its cycle. I think it was still a week, 10 days, something like that from being fully ready to go. But the problem was we had cold and wet weather. And
this is not the
and
prime area,
right?
Yeah.
And it's really not the right time for that because you're just trying to get those buds to dry out. You don't want them to stay damp and wet and cold because that's when the mold comes. That's when your PM starts and stuff like that. So I had a window of about a day and a half where the weather was good. The plant was dry. It looked happy. And the weatherman was calling for poor conditions for another couple of days. So I was like, I got to get this thing out now.
A friend of mine that I used to talk to a lot, when his plants were growing, and they were, not ready in any way, but they were, looking good, getting to that area. He would manipulate, he would handle those plants and rub them and like really touching them and like grabbing them. But I don't know. I'm like, I just felt like he shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. But he would do it all the time. He would be just like, he would fondle them. He would like, actually like rub them, rub the arms, the legs of them, the branches, the whole leaves and everything. He would like kind of grip them loosely in his hand, and like pull up on them. Was there a reason for that? Is that something you're supposed to do?
He's just working on the philosophy of stressing the plant, right? Okay. Creating some stress in the plant. Like some stress is good because it gives the plant a sense of urgency, right? It has urgency, so it goes into overtime on production. It works harder to complete its goal because it's stressed that it won't complete the cycle. Even though a plant doesn't have a brain, it still has an understanding of
so was he trying to rush? Was he trying to rush the cycle? Was he trying to rush it, make it work harder?
You can't rush it, but what he was trying to do was to stress the plant out towards the end so that it felt that its life might be shorter. So it goes into a different level of production, right? Yeah, and I mean, is there any reality in that actually being good for the plant? Yeah, I think there is some things that would show that stressing a plant isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's to the extent of the stress you give it, right? It has to be very controlled stress. Like defoliation is a stressing technique, but it also accomplishes other goals of allowing for good airflow and removing unnecessary draws on the energy of the plant. So it accomplishes a couple of things. But you really don't want to stress your plants so they stay in that distressed state for more than, 12 hours, 20 hours, something like that. You don't want that stress to go on for like a week and a half, which you can get with transplant stress sometimes. If you damage roots and stuff like that, it takes longer.
I mean, he wouldn't do it, an overboard, but he would rub his one hand up the branch a couple times, and then he'd move on to another branch, and he'd do it. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he would try to explain it to me, but it goes in one side and goes out the other.
Like I'm not a cultivator. I can grow, yeah, absolutely. I understand all the technology behind it. I've done lots of it. I know it, but I'm not passionate about it. Right? I'm not a passionate cannabis farmer. I'm passionate about what I can do with the plant after it's harvested, about how it can be converted, about how it can be turned into products, about what kind of concentrates you can make. That's where I'm excited, right? So cultivation's never been that exciting for me, but the guys who are passionate about it, they have many different techniques and many different beliefs. And that's one of the things about cannabis. Like I always say, if you take 100 cuts from one plant and you give it to 100 different growers, you're going to get different results, based upon technique, based upon environment, based upon feeding regimen, based upon what they feed. You know what I mean? There's just so many things that are.
Your levels of potency could be different with every plant. Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yep. And I mean, the stress can cause that too, right? Like negative stress on the plant can cause it to produce a lower quantity of cannabinoids, and the proper stress can increase it.
Right, so I got a couple more questions. All right, the use a deterrent spray. Obviously, it says
not on the plants, but in the surrounding area.
Yeah, that's what I was going to come on to that next. It says cover your plants with a netting. Do we suggest that for our flower that we're talking about?
That's to protect it from animals?
Animals or bugs, I guess, yeah.
Well, bugs. I mean, bugs are going to get in no matter what, right? Like you can't fully bug-proof the plant. And some bugs are beneficial because they take care of the bad bugs. You know what I mean? Like ladybugs are good. Ladybugs in your garden, they eat other things. Thrips are very common. Spider mites are very common. There are actually biological insects that you can use to counteract those without having to use any kind of insecticides or anything like that. That's the way we did it at Freedom. We did it with bugs. When we had a problem with thrips, Thank God we never had spider mites, because that can be a real hard thing to get rid of. But we had thrips, and almost all large cannabis growers do encounter thrips at different points. We deployed 2 different kinds of bugs against them. We would hang a little box on the plant that had the beneficial bugs inside. And one of those bugs, its main food source was an adult thrip. And then the other bug was able to sense the vibration in the leaf when the eggs were hatching. And it would go to the site where the eggs hatched, and it killed the babies. You know what I mean? Like, it ate the babies. So one of the bugs only liked the baby thrips, and then the other ones encountered the adults. And that's how we dealt with it. And that way, we didn't have to use any kind of chemical or anything like that. It may be difficult to remove at a later time.
That leads me to my final thing on the 5 things that they say to help keep animals or bugs away from your plants. And you've already pretty much said, when we said chemicals, you said not on the plant. But this one says use soap and water and spray your plants. Is that still something you would not do to your pot plants?
We actually talked about that before. And yeah. And like I was saying, last year when I had my plant laid in the harvest there and we had the cold, damp weather right at the end, I did catch a little bit of powdery mildew. And that's basically what I do. You can buy something called PM Wash. It's very expensive. But if you look at the ingredients, it's 99.9% water, and it's 0.01% soap. So I just take a spray bottle and I put one or 2 drops of dish soap in it, and I mean very little, like really 1 or 2 drops in a liter.
Like bottle. The biggest one you can find, and,
pretty much. And I just mist the leaves on the plants with it. I try to keep it off the bud, obviously, but you mist down the leaves and it kind of washes off the powdery mildew, and that soap adds like a little bit of a seal almost. You know what I mean? Like the soap kind of puts a little coating on the leaf that gives it a bit of protection. So very, very little soap, but it's pretty safe to use. So
Alrisha, our friend Alrisha, has a bunch of questions over here.
Yep.
Thank you, Alrisha.
You want to do a commercial, and we'll dive into them, because I can see the time. Or are you good to go?
Yeah. No, I'm stoned. I forgot. Yes, we got to do a commercial. We'll be right back. Thank you, Dr. High. We'll be right back. Dr. High.
We'll talk about that.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey hippie, look at this beautiful crystal sphere I got from Bella's Badass Crystals.
Look at this big vagina I got.
OMG, hippie.
It doubles as a worry stone.
Bella's Badass Crystals is on the top
Good
of the
morning,
mountain
Brian.
in Dauphin, PA.
You can also check out their sales. They have mini Mondays and twice a day Tuesdays.
Find Bella's Badass Crystals on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
They are badass.
WTHC, we are back. It's the hippie and Dr. High hanging out, answering your questions about anything you need to know about medical marijuana, psilocybin, all that kind of good stuff. Anything.
Not so much psilocybin. I don't have a great deal of knowledge.
Oh no, we're gonna
the
talk
other
about
guy.
it.
But
All right, no more
I
psilocybin.
don't have a lot of knowledge there.
We'll talk about it a little bit.
Hey, yeah, we can talk about it a little bit, but I don't have
Go ahead.
too much technical
We got
ability. So I'm
we have Al Risha here with a whole bunch of questions. Well, one question probably, just a whole bunch of messages.
an explanation. So if you have trouble sleeping and insomnia, dry mouth, kind of hard to avoid. No need to smoke. I mean, if you can find a tincture that is THC, CBD, and has a concentration of CBN and myrcene, that should probably contribute to the sleep. Now, one thing people don't realize is that when you want to take CBD as a sleep aid, you really need to take that dose about 2 hours before you intend to go to bed. In that first 2 hours, it can actually have the opposite effect and not allow you to fall asleep quite as easily. So if you're using CBD as a sleep aid, then you want to plan your dose about 2 hours before bedtime. So you could use a tincture or an oil for that. Edibles, you could use edibles if you could find one with the right constituents, right? Then you could get away with that.
Or you start making them with the right constituents, which we can help you with.
Yeah, the problem is that it's really hard to find CBN isolated. Now, if you're making your own extraction, you can do that because you can convert more CBN during your decarboxylation. Before you do the extraction of the cannabinoids, when you decarboxylate in the oven, instead of, let's say, going at 210 degrees for 20 or 30 minutes, you can go at 210 degrees for an hour. And that'll produce a much more sleepy type preparation. RSO is pretty good too. They might want to try some RSO a couple hours before bedtime because during the length of time that RSO goes through post-processing to evaporate off the alcohol or whatever the solvent is they've used to do the extraction. That
now, when you say an RSO, how would they ingest that best for her?
You got to start with about the size of a grain of rice. The easiest thing to do is just take a small piece of bread.
So it's going to come in a syringe, right?
Yeah, it'll come in a syringe for sure, the RSO. Be a dark oil, dark green, almost blackish, dark brown. And you just take a really small piece of bread because you only need something big enough to fold around the size of a grain of rice. And for your first dose, you squeeze about the size of a grain of rice onto that piece of bread. You fold the bread over and turn it into just a little tiny ball and put it down. It's the easiest way to do it, the most effective. So, and you'll have very little flavor like that. You'll actually taste nothing. And then 2 hours before bedtime, attempt that dose and see what happens from there. Because RSO might actually be the easiest thing for you to source.
Yeah, you'll be out cold. And if it's not one grain of rice, it might be 2 grains of rice, but it'll work. All right. What else?
Morning, Brian. How you doing, Kyle?
Good morning, fellas.
Dee Dee. Totally is totes. Are we missing anything? So what really did happen with your plant, Lori? Did it sustain any damage at all? Because sometimes, occasionally, right, when you're working in a room, we used to work on 4-foot tables. So these tables are 4 feet wide. So we had 3 plants across that width. So the plant in the middle was a couple of feet from either side. So when you had to work on the middle plant, you had to somehow get by the first one to get there. And occasionally branches got cracked or broken. You know what I mean? It happened. And if the damage isn't too severe, a lot of times the plant will repair itself. But bottom branches aren't that important unless you're training and topping properly, because the idea is, if you think of a candlestick or a chandelier, this is the appearance you want for your plant at the end of the veg stage, going into flower. You want to have your main stem, and then you want to have as many branches coming up as you can of equal height around that. And that's accomplished through the way that you trim the plant. But that way you get the most top coal as possible. And if you've done it properly, you can get 12 or 16 tops from a plant. And yeah, you maximize your harvest that way.
Yeah. I've seen somebody actually use tape on a branch that had a decent little crack in it, and he kind of like put it back up and held it together with some tape, and eventually it kind of regrew another branch right out of that spot, and
they sell special tape for plants. They have a plant tape. It's designed for that specifically. You also can use it for grafting, right? Because you can graft two different strains together and mix them, and that's one of the ways of creating crossbreeds is to graft two different strains. So you can actually do that too, and that's where the plant tape would come in beneficial. You know, there are a few things that people don't realize you should use, like in your dirt when you're about to transplant, you should use something called mycorrhizae, which is like a fungus. It's a powder, but you sprinkle it onto your soil before you do your transplant. And what that does is it creates a lot of beneficial bacteria in the dirt that helps accelerate that root growth after transplant and lessens transplant shock. So
absolutely, Brian. Absolutely. That's what we're talking about. You can grab absolutely, yes. That's kind of how I heard about, that's what I wanted to do with my friend here.
Yeah.
Well, he's not here anymore. He's out there. But, with the new one that I'm going to hopefully start growing any day now, I'm going to go out there and look at it, and it's going to have a little head coming up, hopefully. Yeah. But once he starts getting bigger, I'm going to take a branch off or two, right? You're going to show me and help me with that, I hope. And then we're going to start restarting to make new ones. No, can I do that? Like reroot?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I can have 2 or 3 coming in a couple months after that one.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
It won't be outdoors. You have to be set up to do it inside. But as long as you're ready to do it inside, yeah, it can be done.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I will. You're here, so we'll figure it out inside. I got you at my disposal. Yep. Now disposal worked. Now it made sense.
Anybody out there that wants to start a grow, walk right through it with you.
Yes, that's what we're here for. I have another story, if you're ready, unless somebody has another question. This one is more of a, we're going to hear it, I hope. I'm going to play it, and you're going to hear it. It's about pot smoking and surgery recovery. It is only a minute long, so here we go. I hope you guys are all able to hear it.
So post-surgical cannabis use.
Yeah, I guess I didn't hear it. I haven't heard about it. I haven't listened to it or anything. So this is the first time I'll hear it as well. Hold on. That's not going to work unless I turn the mute off. All right, we'll try this again. Hear it?
Yeah. I don't hear what they're saying, though.
You don't hear what they're saying?
No. I can't hear what they're talking about.
Can you hear it now or no?
No, not yet.
All right, it's almost over. All right. Well, that sucked that you weren't able to hear it. Let me try it again. Let me try this. I'm going to try something else really quick and see if we can do it. Because maybe you can hear it if I do this.
So what y'all do?
I can hear it now.
All right, hold on. It's the wrong story, though. Here we go.
A new study finds clinical overuse of marijuana is linked to a variety of complications after major elective surgery, including blood clots, stroke, breathing difficulties, kidney issues, and even death. Medical experts say that's because smoking marijuana impacts blood flow in the brain and body, decreases respiration and body temperature, contributes to airway blockages, raises blood pressure, increases heart rate, impacts heart rhythm, and more, all of which can make recovery from surgery more difficult. The new study's finding is significant considering prior analysis have found nearly 3 out of every 10 marijuana users develop a dependence on weed called cannabis use disorder. People who begin using marijuana before the age of 18 are 4 to 7 times more likely to develop a marijuana use disorder than adults.
Yeah. Interesting.
Your thoughts, sir? Like I said, I didn't read it or hear it beforehand. I just put it up and played it.
Well, I actually wrote an article about this. So
you wrote an article about this?
Yeah, on my website. If you go into the blogs, there is one. And it says the complexity of post-surgical pain. Post-surgical pain, also known as postoperative pain, is a complex condition that involves a series of physiological responses in the body. Postoperative pain results from surgical trauma to tissues during procedures, which activates a series of inflammatory and biochemical responses. This is a natural reaction of your body aimed to protect and initiate healing to the injured area. However, it also leads to discomfort and pain. So you have acute and chronic pain post-surgical. So they can be combated a couple of ways, either with non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, acetaminophen are commonly used, or opioids. This is non-pharmaceutical interventions can also play a significant role. These may include physiotherapy, massage, heat and cold therapy. So it talks about the challenges of post-surgical pain. So it says the potential use of medical cannabis for pain management has gained considerable interest in recent years. Through scientific research, we are learning more about how cannabis and its active compounds, particularly CBD and THC, may play a role in managing both acute and chronic pain. So I don't recall writing anything in this article that shows the danger, but okay, so examining the potential benefits and risks of using cannabis after surgery. Postoperative use of cannabis, particularly forms rich in CBD, is increasingly being explored for its potential to manage pain, reduce inflammation, and improve sleep, all of which are crucial for recovery. However, like any medication, cannabis isn't without risks. Possible side effects include dizziness, dry mouth, impaired memory, increased heart rate. It's also essential to note cannabis can interact with other medications, including pain relievers and antibiotics. It says there is emerging evidence that suggests that anti-inflammatory and analgesic properties of cannabis could potentially aid in post-surgery recovery by managing pain and promoting restful sleep, crucial elements for hearing. It says that more is needed, though, of course, because that's a real big problem, right? There's not enough clinical trials that are done. There's not enough really scientific studies like they do with other medications, which is where we need to go.
My wife and I were discussing the exact same thing last night because I told her that when I talk to Dr. Harris, my doctor, I would like to have, if she makes the appointment, please talk to him about getting him on the air because we want to talk to him about because, he's one of these doctors who has never really, I don't know. I don't want to talk on him, but, I don't think he was an emergency room surgeon and now he's a medical marijuana doctor, and he's one of these doctors that knows the values of it, moved over to it to help people with it. But, go ahead.
What age group would he fall into?
As in like us, like he's us.
Yeah, would he be 50? Would he be 70? Would he be 35? I mean,
Generation X, maybe a little older than us, a little bit older than us, maybe.
So that means that throughout his life, he's been in contact with people that use cannabis all of his life, right? From high school on.
Him and his wife, yes. I think his wife was a user and he wasn't, and she's kind of talked him into. I don't know the story for sure, but
through his own experience, he's seen that there's very little harms that come from it. But I hazard a guess that he knew somebody, either a patient or somebody he knew personally, that encountered some sort of medical situation for which cannabis actually showed a real difference, like a measurable difference in their trajectory of healing or dealing with their condition. So I think that that's probably how a lot of doctors come to cannabis medicine, is because they've actually witnessed, either within their own family, their own social circle, or a patient they were treating who's included cannabis over and above their traditional treatment and seeing great results. So
my final statement to Mrs. Hippie is, like these doctors we were discussing, I don't know how we got onto the whole discussion, but we were discussing it. And I said, these doctors that we have currently weren't studying medical marijuana. I said, so who was studying medical marijuana? I said, Dr. High, us stoners who were out there who knew that it was helping us, and so we're the ones that know about what it does, the relief it gives. They need to listen to us, not tell us what, because they're all against it. They were the ones that it was being pounded into their heads. No, drugs are bad. No. And now they're going to come out and try to tell us, oh, no, it's good. It's good. Yes, we were wrong and you guys were right.
Well, see, that's the problem, right? I can talk about observational things. I can talk about third-party things, right? Stories I've heard, things that I've seen happen with people, stuff like that. Me, I can go a little bit deeper because, like I said, I probably close to 100 patient-doctor consultations I sat in on, specifically cannabis doctors and cannabis patients. So I've had a little more insight because I've heard the doctors talk about their perspective in, and I got to say, they were all really knowledgeable people. Like how they came by that knowledge, I don't know particularly how they came to be as knowledgeable as they were. But so I've had a little more exposure, but it's the clinical proof that's required. It's these studies where they actually follow, like Switzerland's doing one right now. Switzerland has a bit of a medical cannabis thing happening. And what they've done is they've taken a sample of the population, somewhere in the neighborhood of around 2,200 people, and they divided them into two groups. One group is now going to be able to source all cannabis products from a pharmacy. Cost controlled, not for profit, so no profit in the purchase of the products, and it's all going to come from legal distribution pharmaceutical. And then they're going to follow the second group, who is still going to have to obtain their cannabis through the black market. And they're going to track whether there's value in the government handling the distribution of cannabis as opposed to just leaving it alone with the black market on the recreational side. So this is going to be sort of a clinical trial that'll be observed and reported on. That's good. But we need a lot more things like that. We need legalization in the US so that all these really great medical schools can start
teaching it.
Well, not start teaching it, because first they have to do the trials, right? They have to get the evidence, because medicine is evidence-based. So they have to get the evidence first.
Aren't we the trials? I mean, come on. How long do we have to trial? We've been trying this shit for 40 years. I've been.
Well, but we haven't been doing it under observation, and we haven't been tracked and followed with the metrics that mean something to doctors. I don't think that is, you know what I mean? I'm more on your side of things when it comes to this. but I also understand.
Well, yeah, and I understand your side.
That's necessary, right? It's not.
Yeah, I understand that.
What I'm talking about isn't my beliefs. It's what I think is necessary for us to achieve a goal. You know what I mean? I don't believe that it's the right way to go.
The goal would be to be federally legal, correct? Federally legal.
Right, because if we're talking about cannabis as medicine, we need to know under what circumstances it's applicable, for what things will it help, when is it the right time to prescribe it, for what conditions is it right to prescribe it for. Yeah, go ahead.
I only do this because if I forget, if I don't, I forget, and I already
Mr.
forgot.
Mr. Carter, Horseshack.
Oh, Mr. Content. Now I forgot. See, fuck. No. So when they federally, if it goes federal, and I don't know, it's not federal here. I don't know how it is in Canada. But my question is it ever going to become part of our medical? If it became federal, would it become part of our medical? Like, would it, if we had medical benefits, would they cover our medicine?
I think that if it can be validated through these trials, then yeah, I think it could be. I know in Canada some things are. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, this is my concern. Is now all of a sudden our doctors are prescribing it to us in a different way. And now they're saying, all right, you can get 68 hits a month or something to that effect. And they start really, and now all of a sudden my prescription is no longer, I can go to the dispensary and get whatever the fuck I want. It is, you are getting this many hits for the month. And now they're trying to control us with the amount.
Well,
Does that make sense?
Let's put it this way. If you get federal legalization, you have access to whatever you need whenever you need it. But there's a segment of the population that aren't cannabis users that can still benefit from the use of cannabis therapy and the treatment of their medical conditions. And this is where the medical will come in, because these people are not, cannabis isn't on the radar for them because they're not regular users of it. So this is where doctors can intervene and offer this up as a form of therapy.
Right. Here, you need this.
Right, because once it's federally legal, your prescription will become irrelevant anyway. Right? Because your prescription may be beneficial if you get pulled over and your blood level exceeds, your THC blood level exceeds the legal limit. Your prescription will be good there. Your prescription may allow you to travel with cannabis on airplanes and things like that, which is good, right? So having your prescription can offer some benefits over just being a recreational user. But once legalization occurs, you'll have access to all the products anyway. So you can take that second option, which is, to take your own healthcare into your own hands and decide what to do for yourself.
We'll finish that right after these commercials. We'll be right back. You're hanging with the hippie and Dr. High.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute.
I looked and I'm like,
hey, Dad,
shit.
Your laundry will be ready in just a minute.
Commercials came so quick.
Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my father from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortune. Oh, my sister and I brought him back to our super twig for safety. And then we all
See that?
the kid all the way home.
Where were you, Jill?
That's the guy in Croatia.
It's not that far
That
away.
thing is marijuana plant from Hale. The Hale kid did his
Make
plant.
friends with Forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
WTHC, we are gonna celebrate 420 over there in the UK. Here's our man Muck Sticky with Smoke.
Smoke some pot, smoke some pot, smoke some pot. Come on, everybody, let's smoke some pot, smoke some pot, smoke some pot. Come on, everybody, let's smoke. Well, come on, everybody, let's smoke some pot. Because you know that I got a big bag and I wanna get you higher. So let me bum a paper and I'll roll the fucking hootie mac and we'll just smoke until we cannot feel our fingers. I'm smelling like a cactus on my hands, and I just wish I was in Amsterdam so I could peacefully smoke some pot. Hey, Mr. President, more than half your residents smoke pot. You should increase the tolerance, cause we just want to sit around the house and watch TV and know that we are free. Let's smoke some pot, smoke some pot, smoke some pot. Come on, everybody, let's smoke some pot, smoke some pot. Smoke some pot. Come on, everybody, let's smoke some. Wait a minute, where am I at? You're in America the free. Well, fire the joint then. Nope, you can't do that. Why not? Because you're not truly free. Oh, I see. Well, I'm free to buy tobacco and beer and they tax it. They should do the same thing with marijuana. Well, I agree with you. Well, maybe someday they'll figure it out. I'm here to flip the switch, make all you geezers twitch, so I can be myself and not be Uncle Sam's bitch. P-O-C-M-U-S-I-C is my J-O-B, and I represent the folks who like to smoke weed, and like me, they believe that we are not truly free. So I'm being funny, I don't hurt anyone. I'm making jokes while ganja smokes, not doing shit but having fun. If you don't like the way I sing or make fun of the clothes I wear, I don't give a shit. Now let's smoke some pot, smoke some pot, smoke some pot. Come on, everybody, let's smoke some pot, smoke some pot, smoke some pot. Come on, everybody, let's smoke some pot.
WTHC, that was our man Muck Sticky with Smoke. Smoke some pot. Yeah. Oh, I love smoking pot.
Uh,
Oh, hearing beeping. What's up, Doc?
Not much.
That sounded like
Looking at a good video out of Croatia.
All right. So yeah, that's gotta suck. Hail in the middle of your
Yeah, buddy's got a plant that looks about as big as him.
Oh, it looked bigger than him. Yeah, he looked kind of tiny next to
the
it.
side of the place, and it's hailing like mad, and he's standing there with a sheet of wood trying to block the hail from hitting the plant.
Oh my goodness! I can only
Jeez.
imagine.
I know.
We get hail here pretty often. That's going to be an issue in the future. We got to worry about that.
Last year or the year before in Calgary, they had a hailstorm that caused billions of dollars of damage
From the cars and all the shit. Everybody's
shattered windows, siding on homes looked like somebody gone with a baseball bat and just beating it.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for a car shortly after that, and I came across a beautiful Range Rover, really nice car. They were only asking about $9,000 for it. The interior was immaculate. The outside looked like it had been hit with a million fucking golf balls. It was so like every place was a ding, and that was all from the hail damage. So, yeah.
Wow. All right. What else? I got one more story. If you're ready, I didn't read it. Like I said, I just went through this morning. I go through real quick. I grab a couple pot stories, see what they're about. If I think they're interesting, I grab them. All right. So this last one says ACLU joins fight to get recreational marijuana on Florida ballot.
Yeah, I was reading that the other day.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Tampa, Florida.
The American Civil Liberties Union, right? I also saw, and this is kind of screwed up because everybody should have the opportunity to be in the industry. But Florida actually had to say that a license had to go to a black farmer. I mean, why would they even have to designate it that way? How come they don't have access to the industry just like everybody else? You know what I mean? Like licenses should be based upon merit, based upon ability. You know what I mean? You should have in Canada. I tell you, you want to grow in Canada, you better spend a lot of money up front. You have to have your facility 100% ready to grow. I mean, if they've got the plant in right now, it's ready to go before you even apply for the license.
Wow.
So you can be in, if you're a micro grow who's doing a 2,500 square foot grow, you could be in for as little as $1 million. But if you're doing a facility like I worked in, you're in for 40 million before the doors can open, before you can even apply for the license with no guarantee of receiving one.
Who's got extra 40 million just laying around, for fuck's sake?
Fundraising.
I'm starting a fundraiser. We're gonna open our own grow. He's gonna be in charge of it. Let's start getting $40 million over here.
Yeah, by the time they were done, they had sunk close to 50 in there by the time I left.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You want me to read any of that, or are we good on that article? I mean, it says basically
what their interest is. Why is the ACLU promoting it? Are they promoting it because it's an opportunity for, because it's a civil liberties union, right? So it could be an opportunity for people to get into the industry.
It's not something that I can play, so I will read it. The push to legalize recreational marijuana in Florida continues to grow, with the ACLU now backing the 2024 ballot initiative. The organization filed a brief Monday that lit into Florida's Supreme Court handling of ballot initiatives, saying justices are making it an acrobatic exercise. The ACLU is arguing that the Supreme Court now has a history over the last several years in Florida of striking down these initiatives. Will Cooper, a constitutional attorney, said, that's what he said. Cooper said, having the backing of a well-known legal institution like the ACLU will strengthen the effort. It might be a tall order. If the Supreme Court really does want to let people speak and get out of the business of striking these initiatives down and acting by the people of Florida, I think they can certainly have a sufficient basis to let it stand, he added. Blah, blah, blah. I don't really see why. Yeah, it's not really getting into where you wanted to hear. That brief notes over the 5 years, Florida Supreme Court struck down 4 out of the 9 citizen initiatives it reviewed from the ballot and declined to review 1 in contrast. The court struck 0 citizen initiatives out of the 7 it reviewed in the 5 years before that. Okay. Florida's Attorney General Ashley Moody is hoping that the case will be this time around, saying a previous filing, the ballot summary, is vague, and that the voters won't know what they are supporting. In previous statements, Moody's representative said that it is essential that Floridians know what they are voting for.
Right.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying it's foolish, right? Because cannabis is not dangerous. It's got no societal harms. It's actually
Over 1 million Floridians want recreational marijuana on the 2024 ballot. When voters decide whether to amend Florida's constitution, it is essential that they know what they are voting for. It is the duty of our office to address the validity of the initiative petition before it appears on a ballot. It is the incumbent upon us to inform the court when the ballot summary misleads voters about the effect of the proposed constitutional change. Moody's communication director stated, if Florida's Supreme Court does not rule by April 1st, 2024, the constitutional amendment will go on the ballot. However, the past few years, they have ruled sometime in either February or March on similar matters. If it clears this hurdle in the Supreme Court, the use of recreational marijuana will be up to Florida voters who will need to approve the measure by over 60%. That is all.
I wonder why 60%. I wonder why it's not just 51-49, right?
Yeah. Well, no,
but
it's Florida. Why?
And Florida's probably got the oldest population in the U.S. of any state. Like if you take median age state by state by state, you probably got Arizona and Florida and maybe New Mexico, probably all pretty similar. But that's, and I know for Canadians, there's a ton of Canadians in Florida. The snowbirds, they call them, go down for the winters and stuff like that. And I think that that's a state that can really benefit people, legalization. But I think legalization should be everywhere. Like I was reading an article yesterday talking about Ohio. In Ohio, they had accumulated, I can't remember how many thousands of signatures to place cannabis on the ballot, on the next ballot, right? A referendum or whatever you call it there in the States. And they were 664 signatures short in a state as big as Ohio. And they're saying, no, it can't go on the ballot unless you get 700 more signatures. That's what you need, 664 more signatures before we can place it on the ballot. So if anybody out there listening is in Ohio and hasn't had an opportunity, you should take a look at this initiative and try and get your people to sign it somehow. It's probably online. I didn't look at where it was, but got to help them out so you can get that there in Ohio. That'd be good. Another interesting one I was reading is that MasterCard has demanded that U.S. financial institutions block cannabis purchases using its debit cards.
Oh!
Yeah. So, I mean, not all debit cards are Visa or MasterCard debit cards. They don't have the capability of online shopping and everything, but apparently, if you're using a debit card that is a MasterCard debit card, they no longer want the financial institutions to put through transactions that are related to cannabis purchases.
Probably
if you're using
go ahead.
Well, I could see them saying block purchases made with a MasterCard credit card because that's their money that they're advancing you to make your purchase.
Right. But
and cannabis is very illegal. But a debit card is your money.
Right.
That's your money. So if anybody out there is using a MasterCard debit card, then maybe in protest you want to switch to Visa. That's really not cool. I can understand from MasterCard's point of view where it's not federally legal if they feel that they have some legal jeopardy, but I don't really see how that happens for them because they're simply a processor. Marijuana legalization is a huge mistake. A huge mistake for who?
Well, that's what we're going to listen to now. Let me get it going here. Let me rewind because it's already halfway over.
I mean, who's it a real
deal with China? They take action on fentanyl, and in return, we lift sanctions on a Chinese forensic institute that's suspected of human rights abuses. Is that a fair deal? Drug policy expert Kevin Sabet joins us now. I repeat, is that a reasonable, fair deal?
I think first of all, the burden is on China to do a lot more to curb the, basically the clandestine labs, all the labs that are there creating the analogs that produce this fentanyl that we're seeing. The burden's also on Mexico, where we're seeing these drugs being transited through and institutions fall apart there, and when they know what is happening, and they could be doing a lot
But
more.
should we be
need
doing
really
deals like this? I mean,
money.
should we be saying, okay, you take care of the chemicals for fentanyl, and we'll take care of this institute for you? Is that a fair
Yeah, I don't
deal?
know anything about. Well, I don't know anything about this institute.
That's
but
the wrong
what I do
story.
know is that we need to put a lot more pressure on countries
I don't
producing
know.
these products. We have a lot to do within the United States as well, when it comes to law enforcement as well as demand reduction.
Anything they can do against fentanyl, I'm for it.
More pressure, you know,
They can take the people that make fentanyl and peel their skin and put them on public display. As far as I'm concerned,
I agree.
I'd be right there cheering them
We have a
on.
lot more to do.
Let's talk weed, pot, marijuana. You said there is a connection to legal marijuana and mental illness. Spell it out, please.
Yeah, let's hear this bullshit.
Yeah, well, the top scientists in the world say it. They basically are saying that today's marijuana is not the Woodstock weed of the 60s. It's much stronger now. It's been genetically bred to increase the THC levels, and that is leading to huge rises in psychosis and schizophrenia and other mental illness, depression, anxiety as well. And we've seen the boom in young people, especially in mental illness. This is the same time that we've seen a boom in marijuana in regular daily consumption that has just been increasing by an order of magnitude since we've legalized marijuana and all these gummy bears and cookies and
What about
vapes.
the
And
vape?
so, yeah.
What about
Yeah,
vapes? I just did an editorial saying, look, these vaping marijuana is a serious problem in education because it takes a few seconds to get high. You can't smell it. It fits in your pocket, and it's not exactly expensive. I don't know what we're going to do now, but I see that as a huge problem.
You don't like that. You can't get
Well,
caught.
it is. You're exactly right, sir. There's
It's a
there's
huge
actually a
problem.
lot we can do. You know, we reduce.
I'm going to tell you America's position on getting caught.
By more than 50% with a strong social disapproval of cigarettes, exposing the tobacco industry and the lies. We should be doing the same with marijuana, but I don't see that. I don't see the campaigns. We need a campaign to say, you know,
not
this stuff
the
is
same.
frying your brain. It's messing with your judgment. It's messing with so many
No, it's
parts
not.
of the brain, actually in ways more profound than nicotine, because it affects your behavior. It affects your mental health. And we're seeing a 5-time increase in psychosis among regular daily users. And the number of daily users, especially among young people, has just skyrocketed.
You see, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, can you? You can't reverse and say, okay, well, there was an experiment to go legal. Forget it. It's illegal again. You can't do that.
Nope.
Yeah, well, as Mark Kleinman used to say, Dr. Frankenstein had an experiment too. Doesn't mean it's a good thing. The reality is we need to push back much more. We did, you know, look what we did with smoking. We stopped smoking in restaurants and public places and airplanes. No one thought we could. It was everywhere in Hollywood. Then it became passé. You couldn't do it anymore. We can do that with marijuana. It'll take some time and a lot of effort, but we're not putting any effort in. We're putting zero effort. We're just trying to legalize and commercialize it. And the big tobacco companies that are invested are laughing all the way to the bank, and we're paying the price. We need to reverse course on that.
Rufus, do you think marijuana is addictive?
Oh, well, it's not what I think. The scientists said it is addictive. 1 in 3 people who use marijuana in the last year have a cannabis use disorder and have an addiction to it. And it manifests itself different than other addictions, but it's absolutely, for some people, not everybody, for some people and a bigger proportion of people because of today's high potency THC, absolutely addictive.
Kevin Sabat, thank you very much for being.
A very small number. A very small number. Yeah.
I'll just get rid of them dumbasses. Huh.
Yeah.
They obviously have no clue.
No, not really.
Help me out here, because
I mean, yes, a very small number of people do suffer negative consequence from cannabis, and as we talked about yesterday, the day before, some people form a psychological addiction to the plant. There's no doubt about it. Some people go through it. My own brother-in-law tried to kill himself when he stopped getting high because he was nuts about his weed. Like he really couldn't stop. He couldn't psychologically handle it. And
yeah, but it's a mental thing. It's not.
Yeah. Well, no, it was. It is a mental thing. It's not physical. Cannabis has no physical addictive potential, but it can psychologically addict to some individuals.
Oh, I'm psychologically addicted. I told you, once I start getting low, I'm already having anxiety over it.
That's how we got into the conversation. But some people are addicted to Diet Coke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people are addicted to
Meth.
Yeah, some people are addicted to feet. Are you out there?
Nick! Nice one, Doctor. Yeah. Love it. Love the DJ nephew Nick bust.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say that about anything, right? But it's all about which drum are you going to bang? And
see, Curly Kell, this morning, Curly Kell was out. She's like running around the house finding carts that might have a couple drips in it to try to get a couple hits because she's at work and she can't get to the dispensary till after work. And she had a rough weekend, funeral and stuff. So she probably overdid a little bit, so she went through her cart a little quicker than she probably planned on it. But now she's she's crazy right now. She's like, I got to find some. I got to find some.
Yeah, you're right. You can become addicted to anything. And sugar is the worst one because sugar feeds cancer. And I like sugar. There's no doubt about it. I like my sugar. I like to have me a chocolate bar. I like to have me a piece of cake. I like sugar. I like some ice cream now and again.
Like ice cream. That's my bad. That's my downfall. Ice cream.
Bad for us. Really bad. I seen a guy on TikTok yesterday showing us how much sugar is in ketchup. Unbelievable. One bottle of ketchup had more than 200 grams of sugar. That is approaching a half a pound of sugar in ketchup.
One bottle of ketchup.
One bottle.
And my damn kids will use a half a bottle on their own plate.
I like ketchup. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what I'm saying, though, is that here they are worried about things that are beneficial for us, trying to fight that, but yet, hey, they're right in line with all these companies that are poisoning us all the time. And the problem is the lower you are on the economic scale, the less access you have to the right foods.
I'm gonna
for you.
I'm gonna cut you off right here for a second. I know I gotta do a commercial, but it's not that. I want to talk to you about that. My doctor, my primary care physician, I don't know if you know, but the guy over here controlling me, he's fat. And so they gave him a new medicine. They said, this is going to help you lose some weight. We're going to give you this shot thing and you're going to put it in your belly every day. And your appetite's gonna be, I don't remember. I used it for like 3 days and my stomach started to fall like it was going to feel like it was going to rip out of me. And I was like, I'm not doing something that's going to make me in pain every day. So I didn't continue to use it. It's in the refrigerator out there getting cold. Bunch of needles with shit. Anyway, the issue was, I'm not done yet. The issue is that I feel as though part of the issue, I don't know if it's because of that, you said that name, and I heard something recently about that stuff being bad or something, right?
They're actually starting to prescribe it to people for weight loss.
Oh, well, then maybe that's why they.
I can't remember what it was for before. Ozempic, I don't remember its intended use, but they were seeing weight loss as a side effect of its use. So now they're starting to look at prescribing it to people as opposed to other medications.
The point of the story is that I'm not financially in the best place right now, and you can't afford. And what you were saying is the people in certain food, price brackets, I guess. You can't afford to buy that fancy food that you need to eat to get that shot in your belly every day. Like, Mississippi gets us whatever we can get, we get what we get. And if it's not appropriate for my diet that I'm supposed to be following, I can't eat it. So then what do? Not eat? Or I have to, I don't know. It was, the point was, the financial brackets, the money, being able to afford to eat right and eat healthily. I don't know where we were going. Sorry.
Well, I know where that's going. And I know why it goes that way. In my opinion, it's just another situation where the wealthy and the powerful have as much money as they need to eat properly, to have nutritionists on their staff, to do all these kind of things to ensure that they stay healthy and live a long time and don't require pharmaceuticals. But they invest in the pharmaceutical companies and they run businesses of their own where they need a workforce in order to continue to make profits. So they need to keep you enslaved somehow in order to do that. Because if everybody is prosperous, well, what would the world look like? You know what I mean? Like you got to have masters and servants.
All right, commercial. You're in charge.
For a commercial?
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Snarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, Mrs. Hibby. Check out Bern on TikTok at You Have Me Hooked. She's amazing. And everything she makes on TikTok, she sells at You Have Me Hooked 23 at Etsy. So you can watch her make it, and she'll make personalized stuff. So if you have an idea, like I would like this thing made, she can make it. She can make anything. She's an incredible artist. Check her out at You Have Me Hooked on TikTok and You Have Me Hooked 23 on Etsy.
Hello, this is Barbara Ann, and I love listening to WTHC Radio.
WTHC. Thank you, Barbara Ann. I love having you listen to us every day on WTHC Radio. You're amazing, and we love you. Mwah! Everybody out there on Live 365 and tune in, thank you so much for being here. Everybody over here on Facebook and YouTube, you guys are amazing. Please subscribe, share, like. We are almost to 80, I think. We're almost to 80 still. We're still almost to 80. We're at like 78, I think, or something. So come on, we're almost to 80. Let's get to 80. Anyway, Dr. I, we're back. What's your plans today? You got big plans today? What are you doing? Working all day again?
Well, yeah, because I didn't get any work done this morning.
What?
Yeah, no, I was, like I said, I stayed up late last night watching that congressional hearing, and then I woke up a little later than normal this morning, and I had to go into town for a few things. And I went and did my run around, and by the time I got back, I didn't really have time to get into anything.
Yeah, because I felt like I sent you an invite fairly early today, and then I was looking, and you didn't join until, quite close to the end, and I was like,
no, I had to go to the res.
Yeah,
one of my favorite little trips in the morning.
Alrisha's going to
get some more vapes, because I never like to run out, and I have one, my wife had one, and there was no spares laying around, so I wanted to pick up a couple, because you just never know when you need a spare. The battery dies, it's going to take an hour to recharge, and want to get hot now. So yeah, and gas, I mean, save $10 a tank out there, at least, maybe 12, 15
on the res. Yeah.
Very different.
As a person, you can just go to the res and they just let you on, and you don't have to be a person that
there's no barriers.
Okay. I don't know how it works.
Like a road in and a road through and a road out. Yeah, it's nothing.
Oh, okay.
We got a main highway running right through town. I mean, now there's the 401, which is the main highway going east to west, but They have Old Highway 2 runs right through the middle of the res. So there's a lot of people that transition through that area. They got some restaurants that are nice because you can actually, I don't smoke anymore, but I found it a real novelty when I moved here. I go to the restaurant, sit at my table, wait for my order, and have a cigarette.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah. You can smoke in the casinos too when they're on Indian territory.
You still can smoke in. Well, they have like sections here now at Mount Airy Casino.
Okay.
They have like a section that's kind of all the same tables and everything where you can smoke, and then they have a section over here where you can't smoke. And you walk around and you decide whether you want to sit with the smokers or if you want to sit with the non-smokers.
Yeah.
Nowhere for us vapors, though. Nowhere for us vapors. They're like, no, you can't vape in here, but you can smoke a fucking cigarette.
Isn't that weird, eh?
It's fucking stupid. Stupid. My shit smells pretty. It smells pretty. It smells like apple pie. I'm not stinking up the place, and I'm getting a little bit of nicotine that I need. It's fucking stupid.
That's
smoking sections at the casino that he works at.
Nice. Working at a casino must be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. It seems like it would be very hectic and drive me crazy. I would be very. I don't. It seems like maybe if I worked because it's open 24 hours. So it's like never slows down. It's never dead. There's never a break.
Yeah. It's nice that they give you a place to go and lose your money 24 hours a day. Huh? Like people don't have problems as it is.
Right. At our casino, the employees that work there are not allowed to ever gamble there ever. So
that tells you something.
Yeah. So you're not allowed. You can't work there and gamble.
Listen, casinos are dirty, right? There are indulgent people there that understand.
Andrew cleans the casino. Don't say that. They're very clean. Andrew, you do a good
dirty
job.
that way. I mean, dirty tactics.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because there are people that have the mental ability and the mathematical wherewithal to beat blackjack, who know how to play, who understand, the counts. And
people hate me.
They're doing completely legal stuff. Yet casinos are always on these guys. They don't want winners. They only want losers.
Yes.
They don't want anybody to win.
When I sit down at the blackjack table, we play a couple hands and like everybody gets up and walks away after I play because I'm a dick. I don't care. If I feel like I'm going to win, I'm going to take a chance. And I don't care if I got 15, sometimes I'll double down and I'll be like, you know what? Double down. And they'll all look at me and they'll be like, you're a dick. And I'll be like, fuck you. Then the 4 will come up and I'll be like, yeah, see, dick. 19 winner. And they're like, you're a dick. And they get up and they walk away. And they're like, you're not supposed to hit on that. And I'm like, I don't know your rules. I know my rules. And if I'm going to win, I'm going to win. I don't care. I'm not here to make you money. I'm here to make me money. And if I feel like I'm going to win on this 19, then I'm going to win on this 19. I'm not counting the cards. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. I just like to play. And if Mississippi says, hey, let's go to the casino tonight and spend $100, I'm like, yay. All right, let's go. I'll try to make a $200 and go home.
Yeah. Or go home with none. Just never take the money to the casino you don't intend to lose.
Yeah, that's how I go there with $100, and if I lose it, then I take half of Mrs. Hippie's $100 because she's usually skimping over there playing one quarter, and I'm like, give me that.
That's when you play the nickel machines to get your night out of it.
Yeah, she's over there playing the penny slots, and I'm like, give me that other 50. I'm going to play real poker over here and try to lose some money. And then we lose all of our money together, and then we leave. Woohoo! Wi-Fi fixed.
I do like to play poker, but I play online.
Yeah,
I've actually won. I've won a couple of really big tournaments online. I won one that was
back in the day. I used to play a lot.
Yeah, I won one tournament on Party Poker that had over 18,000 individuals. And I won a second one on Vodog that was somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 players. I actually won them outright. So
that's the one I did. I beat a 50. I was one of 5,000, and I ended up winning the whole thing. And my wife was like, "You really should get into this." And I'm like, "Nah, I don't like it. I like it, but I don't like losing. So when I lose, I get very pissy."
I bought a book that says how to make $30,000 a month playing online poker, and Yeah, and I just went after it.
Did it work?
No.
Damn it!
No.
You didn't read the book right.
Well, I'm very calculating, right? I'm not a risk taker, and to be good with poker, you really have to know your math. And the other problem is you're playing on a computer, so you don't really know.
Yeah, you can't see their facial expressions. You can't see
no,
that.
it's not that. But you don't know that the cards are coming out are like, you don't know if there's any kind of manipulation in the background either, right? Like,
legit, right?
Yeah, like you can't be 100% sure. But I still like to do it for fun. I like playing the 9-man tables, sit and go tournaments, and sometimes bigger tournaments, depends. But I like to do it every once in a while. I get in the mood and I sit down and I'll spend 8 or 10 hours playing in one shot. So sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun. What's up, doggy? What's up, doggy? That's my boy.
So what else? What do we want to talk about next? Anybody out there have any questions before we go? What's your plan? Do you have time still, or you got to go?
I got a couple minutes. Hey, you know what would be cool if everybody out there could do me a little favor, and that would be to head over to that Etsy shop and go through the images that are there. And if you find images you like, just click on them, click that you like them, and that should help me in the algorithm and help me get more visibility on Etsy. Because I'm looking right now at the traffic, and I'm getting a fair amount of traffic, but I'm generating 95% of it, and Etsy's only generating like 5%. You know what I mean? So I think it's because they just don't know if, because they're not looking at the pictures. They're just looking at how people interact with it. You know what I mean? When they do see it. So it takes some time. Yeah, thank you, Lori. Appreciate that. Yeah, but that's that can help me with the algorithm a little bit there on Etsy. That kind of got to get that moving and try the next series, because I've got up the initial one. I've got up all the ladies. I got
all the ladies.
Yeah, I got all the ladies up yesterday. Now I'm working on all the plants, all the actual cannabis plants, but all done in beautiful colors, and you know what I mean? Like it's art. It's not real plants, but that's the next 40 that'll go up will be
Alrisha, thank you for getting us to 82 subscribers. Woo hoo! And she said, "What is the name of the shop?"
Oh, Dr. High AI Haze. So if you just go on Etsy and type in Dr. High, the way you see it on the screen there, you can just put AI Haze afterwards, and you'll be able to find it. I think I'm the only Dr. High there is out there, so shouldn't be too hard to find. But I do appreciate anybody who takes the time to do that for me. It may help in the long run. I don't know, but I need all the advantage I can get, or my wife may make me get a job at some point.
Yeah, me too. Me too, guys. Dr. High,
I'm much more valuable this way. Yes.
Dr. High, do me a favor. Oh, what? You got a question?
Yes. Leave it alone, Chris. I was thinking that the plant was much bigger, like perhaps like Lori's plant or something that she sent me the other day. But as I see, you're really only on your second leaf set, and the plant is still very, very small. So, yeah, just leave it be. Those two little yellow leaves on the bottom, the little round ones that look like cannabis leaves, they'll just fall off. That's just the initial. Oh, I can hear somebody's on Etsy right now.
Woohoo!
My phone's going off, so.
Yeah, it's probably from the shock. It's probably from the shock he was saying, and those two little yellow ones will fall off, and it'll continue to.
No, it's not shock. It's just natural when you grow from seed. Those first two little leaves that pop.
Why do I bother?
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be from shock. It's just a natural. Oh, that's you. Thank you. I could hear it going bing, bing, bing. That's good. Yeah, every little bit helps. That's for sure. I'm actually. Huh?
Go ahead. I keep cutting you off.
No, it's good.
No, well, I wanted you to. Oh, hi, Nurse High. How are you?
Nurse High.
You don't have your little thing up so we can see her today. You gotta warn her. Yeah, you gotta tell her.
Yeah. I got no backdrop today. Once again, like yesterday, I was able to get it back in, but today I couldn't.
Yeah, well, today you got here late. You got here late. I think that if you would have got here on time, you might have been able to pull it off.
No, I was working on it for like 5 minutes, but it just wouldn't present itself. Because now they got this stupid thing that I don't know if they're using AI or what on here, but they say that to help your appearance look better, and this button gets clicked, and I'm trying to unclick it, but it doesn't unclick.
Yeah, no, mine's on now.
So I don't know. Somehow it's trying to make me look better, but
I think you look beautiful.
it's got a long way to go.
So
this is not perfection of AI technology, that's for sure.
Dr. High, I want you to do me a favor because you know more than I do. Tell everybody what we're looking for over here as far as guests and as far as, like sponsorships and things.
What I'd like to see is that, we should be promoting, I think, up-and-comers in the cannabis space, entrepreneurs. As long as you're legal is a tough word because you're in the U.S., but as long as you are a serious craftsman doing your thing, I'd definitely like to have a conversation with you and then determine whether we can go further or not, because we would like to promote these people. And we can promote you not so much directly, but through just having a conversation about your process and the work that you're doing. And I mean, you'll have the opportunity to get your business name in there. And
absolutely. I'll even put it in a banner when they come up, and
as long as you're a serious person about it and doing it, and that's what we're interested in working with. I think if anybody's out there's got products that they'd like us to talk about, they don't necessarily want to come on the show, but they're making product that they'd like us to talk about, then simply if you're in the US, you just need to send a sample to the hippie and he can give your product a whirl, and we'll go from there. But we'll talk with people who are doing their own nutrients, with whoever, lighting companies, every cannabis space that has a product that can benefit, first off, medical cannabis users. Like a bong company is not really on my radar, or somebody who's doing the glass pipes, but from there you have the artistic talent too, right?
Like I would love to have a glass blower up one day and have them come and sit and talk with us.
Especially if they could set up a camera in their shop while they're making a pipe.
They do it all the time. Yeah, they do it all the time on TikTok. What would be different than just coming here and doing it during our show, doing a 2-hour pipe, or something?
Like, I know a glass blower. I don't know him well. I know his mom pretty good, but I really don't know him. But you can search him up by looking for Golen Glass, Golen, and then glass. This guy makes dab rigs that sell for $25,000.
Oh, I've seen some.
I mean, some incredible stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to talk to them about that kind of stuff.
Well, I bought 2 pieces from his mother because his mother was the glass blower for Inhale Nation for a long time. She made a lot of pipes for them. And as he was growing up, when he was in his early teens, he found that he was interested in glass blowing. So his mom taught him how, and that's where he started, right? With his mom. He learned from her, and he started doing this, and he got better, and he went out to BC, and he started entering some contests and winning, then down to Vegas, California, winning competitions down there for his craft. And he started making some really good money. So his mom said to him, listen, teach me how to make dab rigs. You know what I mean? Like, I got you started. Now you're making a lot of money with dab rigs. I want to learn how you make those.
To pay the piper.
That's right. So luckily for me, she came into the store to deliver pipes one day, and she had her first 2 dab rigs with her. And I managed to buy them both from her right on the spot. And I think I paid about $400, something like that, for the 2 of them. And they're easily worth probably $3,000, between the 2 now. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool art. I got a little rock and roll dinosaur. It's a little dinosaur. He's got the glass guitar on him. The amplifier is the dab tool on the back. It's a very cool piece. Maybe I'll bring it down so we can show it one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Figure out where it is.
If you know where it is.
But I think it's still packed. I never even unpacked in this place when I moved here last year. Not entirely. You know what I mean? So I
well,
would
that's
probably
good
go
because
hop.
now you're thinking about moving again. So
Well,
now
I'm
you
thinking
know.
I'll be in Montreal by the 1st of October.
Oh, it's official.
Yeah, we're gonna make the move.
Have
for
you
sure.
found a pad?
No, it's still a little bit early. They won't start popping up until after the 1st of August for October 1st because it's about a 60-day notice. So we'll start looking then. We've been looking at different things in the meantime. My wife just transferred her license to Quebec. So she just bought her Quebec nursing license. So we're good to go on that count. She's already had a couple of job offers. I mean, that's a beautiful thing about being a nurse. You can go just about anywhere and get work. We could go to Hawaii. If I was allowed in the States, man, they have this travel nursing program where you can go as a nurse on contract to different places around the world and live there for 2 and 3 and 4 month stints, make pretty good money, and you're able to bring your spouse. So we've always said that'll be our retirement plan.
When I'm not add up.
Yeah, when I can figure this out and start working remotely anywhere in the world or whatever, then maybe we'll go live in Ireland for 3 months. Maybe we'll go live in the Caribbean for a couple months a year. You know what I mean?
Right. You fucked it up for the United States. You didn't fuck it up for the rest of the world.
Yeah, no, it's only the States I can't go to because she got a good offer to go to Hawaii. Really good money, but I can't go, and she doesn't want to go for 3 months alone. So, you know,
What are you suck it up. Suck it up, nurse.
But I'll tell you what, that's a good career to have because you're never short on work, and the States pays good money.
You know what else is a good career to have? DJ. DJ,
Yeah.
yes. I'm looking for DJ.
Nice. Nice. Oh, you got a lift? You got a lift, Rob? Was it a long
he doesn't have.
Why don't you just hop on the double-decker bus or the tube? I'd like to know where Robert is. Is he right in London or?
No,
You have
he's
any
in,
idea where he's in England?
Birmingham. Birmingham.
Birmingham. Yep,
Yeah.
familiar with the name.
We have a friend, another listener who is always listening in the London area. I
Okay.
see you always there listening constantly. We love you guys over there in the UK. You guys are amazing.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep. Those are our origins for the most part.
Canada, and the UK, and the United States.
Yeah, that's it.
And Cameroon, wherever that
Cameroon.
is. I have a big following in Cameroon.
Do you really? That's
I
in
have like
that's
20
in, East Africa, West Africa. It's in Africa, right? Cameroon?
South Africa. I don't know. I have
South
no idea.
Africa.
I have no idea. All I know is there's like 20 people who listen there all the time.
Well, I know that they have a decent soccer team. That's for sure. They always make an appearance in the World Cup, which means you have to be on a certain level just to get there.
Maybe they want WTHC to come sponsor their. They want to sponsor WTHC. I can't.
Oh, we might get a good little rivalry thing going on here in the near future, because at some point Canada may play the U.S. in the Women's World Cup down there in Australia, which is going on right now in Australia.
Did the U.S. beat the Netherlands? I didn't see.
I don't know. I didn't see it. I know Canada beat Ireland yesterday, but I haven't seen what's going on with the U.S. yet. But we could.
I heard it was either today or yesterday. It was either
we
today.
could end up head to head at some point, and then we'd have some fun.
Oh, absolutely. No, we kick your ass. We're USA women, man. We kick ass.
Well, it was beautiful. Last time I got to enjoy something like that was when I was in the States, and Canada and the U.S. played each other for the gold in hockey.
Hockey, yeah, I remember.
And Canada won.
What?
Canada won.
That's because you cheat. You guys have all these Canadian hockey players that are really good.
Oh, it was a tie last night for Team USA.
Oh, tie. That's not good.
And who did they play?
The Netherlands.
Oh, the Netherlands. Netherlands is a football country.
The Netherlands kicked our ass last year, 2 years ago, or however.
I mean, they do have a great men's team, so I can only assume that they'd have a great women's program too. And you know, soccer is kind of cool because
I love
find it just as entertaining, regardless of whether you're watching the men or the women.
I love watching it. I have no clue what they're doing. I have no clue. I played soccer once when I was a kid. I was the goalie. I went like this. The kid kicked the ball. I had already landed on the ground to try to make the save, and he had waited and didn't kick, and then he kicked it, and it went boom right into my face. And I said it from like 4 feet away, and I was like, yeah, this sport sucks. I got up, I cried, and I left. And I said, I'm not playing no more. Stupid soccer.
I had an uncle that was the general manager of the Welsh team, Cardiff. He had played national for Wales, and his son played for the Cardiff team also. So I played soccer a little bit, but I enjoy watching it. You know, but I like watching all sports. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I'll even watch water polo during the Olympics. I'll sit there for hours watching.
Well, you know what's kind of crazy? When I arrive in Montreal and I'm moving into my new place, there's a chance that an Olympic athlete will be helping me move. One of my daughter's closest friends was a diver for Team Canada for many years, and they've become friendly over the last 2 years. They've worked together. And
what's her name?
Megan Benefido.
Oh, I know her. I remember her. Quite the diver.
Yeah.
The tall one, right? She goes way up onto the platform, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember her.
So
I'm very big into the Olympics. I watch all the Olympics. I love them.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm looking forward. We're going to have we got Paris coming up next summer. So
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait till the Olympics. I'm always looking forward to the Olympics, summer and winter. I have my favorites.
I really do. There's something about the spirit of the Olympics that
I think it was the fact that I got the opportunity to live in Lake Placid that got me so hooked into the Olympics.
That's funny. I live just outside Lake Placid too.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that. I lived in Saranac Lake, but I
lived in the Olympic Village for the 1980 Olympics.
My stepsister, she owned a bar in the Olympic Village.
Okay.
Not in the 80s when it was going on, but in the 90s and the 2000s until she got divorced, left and moved. But there was a bar right in Lake Placid, right in downtown Lake Placid. That was hers. Yeah, it was my stepsister. I was too young to drink there at the time. Fuck.
Yeah.
But it was cool that my stepsister owned a bar in the Olympic Village, and you know, and my dad and my stepmom used to hang out and get drunk there all the time, but I didn't get to.
I mean, it's a beautiful country, eh? The Adirondacks are gorgeous.
I love it. I love it. My wife can't stand it. I would be there, and I would be a country boy, and I would do this radio station from right in my little porch out in the backyard in my country house, the river running through. I'd be thrilled. She can't handle it. It's too slow. Too slow. At the town that we kind of visited a lot was called Indian Lake, New York, and that's where my grandma lived. And that was such a small town that they had like a Grand Union and a Stewart's, and that was it, and like one bar and a bank. And you would have to like drive hours to go to the nearest store, to like the real stores, you know. So they would order, still to this day, they order their clothes from a catalog and they have it delivered, and it's really old country kind of stuff. I love it. I love it up there. Vanessa,
how you doing, Vanessa? I think it's the first time I've seen Vanessa in here with us, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Could be. Cool. So tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. Now you have an appointment next week sometime, right? You said Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Tuesday is the 1st. Is that the 1st
of August? Yeah, 1st of August.
I got a lot of shit going on that day. I have a doctor's appointment that day as well. Okay. Later in the day, so it won't affect us until it's like not until 4:00. So we're gonna come on late though that day, right? We'll come on when you get back.
I would guess that I'll be home by 11 or so maybe an hour later than normal.
Well, I'll set the room up and I'll just keep an eye on the room. And when you're ready, you jump in. And when I look down there and I'll see you, I'll jump on and we'll say, all right, we're starting at 12 or 11:30 or whatever it is when you're ready.
I have a feeling that that'll probably be right around my time, right around 11.
What I want to do is I want to tell you to, when you get an opportunity, please look around, because you might have to click something to change it, but you should be able to invite now. You should be able to do everything I do. You have the same powers as me. So
I have to figure out, because I might actually have 2 different accounts running here. So I'll try and figure it out. But it's funny because my YouTube is in one email and my Facebook is in another, but yet I was able to link them here somehow. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's technological stuff. I'm
I'm
not the best at these things.
You're creating art. I can't even do that shit. I can barely turn.
Well, according to some people, I'm not. According to some people on TikTok, I'm not creating art at all. I'm a thief.
Okay.
I'm a thief. I'm stealing. I'm stealing from other people's creations. But the thing is AI doesn't reproduce other people's work. So, but you know, I see the point a little bit, but I don't think it matters because art is art. And it's all what appeals to somebody on a visual level, right? Not necessarily about how it's created, but how it appeals to to each individual.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
You can't worry about other people. You can't worry about haters.
No. And I don't care. Because somebody who takes their time to be not nice or to hate on other people, then, in my opinion, they have a sadder life than I do. You know what I mean? If that's how you got to focus your energy, is
you've got nothing better to
hate
do
on somebody else. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's never really been my style. I much rather uplift another human being and be a positive influence or force, or you know what I mean? Even sometimes if it's not a little white lie here and there in life isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Do I look fat in this dress? Well,
Yes. Oh,
you know what I mean? There's always a correct answer to that. So, you know, I don't worry about it. I don't worry about that. That's okay. Everybody's entitled to his opinion, and
my issue is I'm too honest. Like if you read the thing before you get in here, I kind of told Facebook right where to go.
well,
Stop
honest is good.
fucking with my shit. Stop fucking with
Thank
me.
you, Chris.
I own the music. I own the rights. Come on
Hey,
now.
Yeah, no, that's it, right? Like, yeah, why would you put your energy into hating on other people? There's so much better ways to spend it.
Right. I got to
You
do
know?
a commercial, Dr. High.
All right, I'm going to fly.
You're
Dr.
out.
High is going to fly in
Dr.
more than
High.
one way.
Flying high again.
More than one way. Thanks, everybody, for passing some time with us today. It's truly appreciated. I really enjoy the interaction with you all.
We had some great numbers today. Yep, the numbers were definitely up today compared to normal. So thankful.
You know
Thank
what?
you to
It's not about the numbers. It's about how the people who are with us enjoy the show.
Right.
Not about how many are here, but the quality that we're able to give them.
And obviously they're enjoying it because they're sharing it out and letting their friends to know. So
So-
more and more people are coming.
It's a
So
good
it's
thing, right?
Yep.
It's a good thing. So
I want to thank
All right,
you
everyone.
so very
Thank-
much for being here.
Yes,
As
thank you. Been a pleasure as always. And we will see you all again tomorrow, 10 a.m. sharp.
Yep, 10 a.m. here on the East Coast, 9, 8, and 7 a.m. all the way over there on the West Coast, you crazy bastards.
Well, you
Waking
better be up with a coffee and a joint waiting for us to come on.
and baking with the hippie and Dr. High over there. Yeah, let's get it going.
Right. That's
Everybody,
right.
thank you so much over here on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Everybody out there on Live 365 and tune in. We're going to do a commercial. We'll be right back.
Okay, man. This is your time.
I'll talk to you later.
Maybe you didn't choose this, but
Take
you're
it
here
easy.
now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you.